Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Information Buffet presented by the Office of Nutrition Programs and Services. My name is Bridget Ressi. I'm the newest staff member on the team, and today I'm going to be presenting on summer meal options for 2024. Summer is right around the corner, and planning which program your SAU will operate is a crucial first step in the planning process. By the end of this training, we hope you will have learned more about each program in order for you to make the best decision for your SAU as you continue providing school meals into the summer months. There will be a short period at the end to answer any questions that come in. First, an important note that not all these options may apply to your SAU. In other words, depending on your SAU's location, free and reduced percentage, and academic programming offered, your SAU may or may not be eligible. And we'll break this all down for you today. All right, so why serve summer meals? There are many benefits and ways to get creative when operating summer meal programs, including the benefit of serving your community through the offering of summer meals, the opportunity to establish community partnerships, the opportunity to incorporate local foods during peak season, provide educational enrichment or recreational activities that keep children learning, active, and safe when school is not in session, and the opportunity to even gain national recognition from USDA through their annual Turn Up the Beat Award for summer meal programs. School districts providing academic summer school and or summer enrichment activities for children are encouraged to consider 3 distinct funding opportunities that would allow for the continuation of healthy school meals into the summer months. These options include first, extended NSLP. This option allows you to provide meals to summer school students under the same programs typically operated during the school year, so NSLP and SBP. All program requirements remain the same. Reimbursements for these meals served remain the same. So meals are claimed at the free, reduced, or paid rate based on student eligibility. Next, option 2 is the Summer Food Service Program, or SFSP. This program provides funding resources to schools who wish to serve free meals to all children, those who may be attending summer school, as well as other children in the community ages 18 and under. Schools that have 50% or more of their children eligible for free and reduced price meals during the regular school year or are located within a census area that qualifies are eligible, which I will talk more about in a minute. The SFSP has its own set reimbursement rates. The third option is the Seamless Summer Option, or SSO, which allows you to serve free meals to all children attending summer school, as well as other children in the community during the summer months, so same as SFSP. The eligibility for this program is also the same as SFSP, but reimbursement is based on the free meal rate for the NSLP and SBP. So we're going to take a closer look at each of these options and go through a set of questions to consider and list which programs can operate depending on the answer. The first area we will cover are the differences between reimbursement rates. First, the SFSP reimbursement for all non-camp sponsors is determined by the number and type of meals served. Sponsors can estimate their reimbursement by taking the number of meals to be served by type and multiplying it by the appropriate rate for the type of site, so rural, self-prep, or non-rural, non-self-prep. When we look at the column for rural or self-preparation sites, rural means that according to the rural designation map, if your site is in a location that is considered rural, this is the reimbursement rate you're looking at. Self-preparation means the SAU prepares the meals that will be served at the sites and does not contract with a food service management company or another school for the preparation of meals. Self-preparation includes SAUs that prepare meals in a central facility and delivers meals to their sites. The non-rural or vended FSMC sites column is used for SAUs of sites that are not located in rural areas and that are vended or have contracted meals with a food service management company. For SSO, meals are reimbursed at the current free NSLP and SBP rates. For extended NSLP, meals are paid at the appropriate rate for the determined eligibility of the child served, so free, reduced, or paid. Schools participating in the Community Eligibility Provision, or CEP, provide meals at no charge to students and claim according to the approved CEP claiming percentage. A very important note here is that this chart is reflecting all of the additional sources. So for example, the 8 cent certification, severe need, etc., for the extended NSLP and SSO rates. So this reflects the maximum reimbursement for NSLP and SSO, since the rates are not the same for all schools. So for a quick comparison, in the SFSP, if your eligible SAU is self-prep and designated in a rural area, you can be receiving over $5 per lunch or supper, whereas in SSO, this would be $4.35 at the maximum, and in NSLP, this would depend on the determined eligibility of the child served. So for lunch, $4.35 at the free rate, $3.95 for the reduced, and 50 cents for paid. Again, this includes the set rate plus all additional sources. So keep in mind, for students not directly certified, free and reduced price meal applications must be approved to determine student eligibility in extended NSLP. I mentioned a rural map that you look at to determine if your summer meal site is considered rural for that higher SFSP reimbursement rate. So here is a screenshot of New Hampshire. Pretty rural. If your site is anywhere in the following counties, it's in green, which is considered rural. The following counties listed there are considered rural. And then for the Hillsborough, Rockingham, and Stratford counties, you're going to want to enter the specific address of the site to see if it's in a green area, as not all areas of these counties are green. Again, the significance of whether the site is rural will give you the higher reimbursement rate in SFSP, and it will also allow you to serve non-congregate meals, so bulk meal pickups and home deliveries if you choose SFSP or SSO. This map has also changed pretty significantly within the last year, so just because it was not eligible before does not necessarily mean it is still ineligible. So we do recommend checking this again. All right, next we'll talk eligibility. First, is the school running an academic summer school program? If yes, your school is eligible for all 3 options. And if no, your school is only eligible for SFSP and SSO. This is because extended NSLP is intended only for students enrolled in academic summer school. Extended NSLP may only operate in school locations that participate in NSLP and/or SBP during the regular school year. All right, more on eligibility. There are a couple of ways to be eligible for these programs. Like we just discussed, in order to qualify for extended NSLP, the school must offer academic summer school and can only operate in school locations that participate in NSLP and/or SBP during the regular school year. The next piece refers to free reduced price percentage and physical address of the school or meal site. So is the meal site located within the attendance area of a school that has 50% or more of its children eligible for free or reduced price meals? Or is the site within a census tract that qualifies? If yes, the site qualifies for any of these options. You'd have to meet these criteria if operating SFSP or SSO. So if the answer is no to this, extended NSLP may be the best option. Again, NSLP, you only need to be operating summer school, so you do not need to meet any of these requirements for extended NSLP. Okay, so when we talk about qualifying via census tract, this is what we are referring to. The USDA eligibility mapper will show a map of the country. You'll enter the address of your summer meal site into the search bar shown on this image. I just entered Manchester, New Hampshire. If the address is in pink, it qualifies, and blue does not. And the web page for you to check the address is shown on this slide as well. The other way to qualify if your site is not in the pink area is to then look at the 50% eligibility list. If your school is on this list, it qualifies for SFSP and SSO. If your summer meal site is not a school, but a park, community center, Boys and Girls Club, etc., you'll want to verify that the physical address of the site falls within the attendance area of a school that is on this list. Easiest ways to qualify non-school sites would first be to check the eligibility mapper. And then finally, if your school is very close to 50%, but just below, you can use a more recent month in October 2023 to qualify if the site met or exceeded 50%. I would recommend working with our office if you're looking to qualify a specific site. The great news is that once a site qualifies by either of these options, it is now eligible for 5 years. So if you qualified a site this year in 2024, it would be valid through summer 2028. And each year it qualifies just extends its eligibility. Next, we're going to look at intended participants to be served to help you determine which program to consider. Summer meal programs offer the opportunity to feed not just the children in school, but any child 18 and under in the community. If you are serving summer meals only to children enrolled in summer school, any of these options will work. Although in SFSP, a school that is operating summer school must be open to the community. If you're interested in expanding to serving children 18 and under, your only options then would be SFSP and SSO, so not extended NSLP. Typically, the meal site is a school for SAUs. However, meal sites can be rec centers, parks, Boys and Girls Clubs, etc. In SSO and SFSP. Schools can also serve free meals to sports teams or other summer programs on SFSP and SSO. If your intent is to only serve at school meal sites, any summer meal program is an option. If you're looking to have a summer meal site that is not a school building, this can only be done in SFSP and SSO. Keep in mind the site still needs to qualify by being in that attendance area of a school with 50% or more free reduced, or be in that pink area on the eligibility mapper. Since Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCAs, etc., can also participate as a sponsor and not just a site in the SFSP, check out that map to communicate with your community to ensure that there are no duplicate sites. Okay, so we won't have time to cover all of the program requirements for each of the summer meal programs, but a common question does relate to the meal pattern and types of meals served in these programs. There is an SFSP meal pattern that is separate from NSLP and SBP. SAUs participating in SFSP can choose to use the SFSP meal pattern or the NSLP SBP meal pattern. In SSO, meal sites must follow the NSLP and SBP meal pattern, and same goes for extended NSLP. Now, for what meals you can serve for SFSP non-camp sites, which is what this presentation covers today, you may serve up to 2 meal types per day at each approved site in any combination other than lunch and supper. So you can serve breakfast and lunch, breakfast and snack, a lunch and a snack, breakfast and supper, supper and a snack, or 2 snacks. Again, any combination of 2 besides lunch and supper. And SSO is the same. And in extended NSLP, any combination of breakfast, lunch, and snack. Keep in mind the snack for extended NSLP follows the same guidelines as during the school year, where after-school snack may only be provided to students participating in an enrichment activity after summer school, whereas there is no enrichment activity associated with snack in SFSP and SSO. If you're not familiar with the SFSP meal pattern, it does tend to be a bit more flexible. For example, there is no vegetable subgroup requirements. The fruit and vegetable components are combined into one component. There's no calorie, sodium, or whole grain rich requirements. Oftentimes, food service workers just want to stick to what they know, and they'll do the NSLP and SBP meal pattern, whereas others have reported the SFSP meal pattern is much more simple and eases burden for staff during the summer months. right, we'll talk broadly about non-congregate feeding on this slide, but more guidance will be coming from our office on this. In summary, if implementing multiple meal distribution, meal pickups, or any form of non-congregate meals, this is not allowable in extended NSLP, so you would have to participate in SSO or SFSP. If not utilizing this method, that does not change your eligibility for any of these programs. Okay, so bringing back this rural map to show what areas of the state are eligible to serve non-congregate meals in SFSP and SSO. So again, we looked at this for the reimbursement, but again, for the non-congregate feeding, this is the map you'd also want to take a look at. If you're considering SFSP, please note that there is a separate application process for this program in My NHDOE. There will also be a mandatory in-person training at our office in Concord to cover the requirements of this program on April 2nd. SSO and extended NSLP do require a paper application and then an update to the NSLP application. SAUs with a food service management company may have to update their contract and complete the addendum to add the SFSP or SSO. The first review of applications submission deadline is May 15th, and all applications will need to be fully approved by June 15th. So here is a high-level summary of each of the programs that we talked about. SFSP, you get that higher reimbursement rate with a more flexible meal pattern, many similarities to SFSP, lower SSO, lower reimbursement rate for SSO, and must follow NSLP and SBP meal pattern. For extended NSLP, only for academic summer school, reimbursements determined by the student status, must follow NSLP and SBP meal pattern, and cannot utilize that non-congregate feeding. Keep in mind the eligibility requirements that we talked about. If you'd like to share this information with community organizations, non-schools can participate in the Summer Food Service Program, SFSP, only, and must meet those eligibility requirements. So now that you've learned more about each program, you can make a decision about which program to pursue. Provided here is a short to-do list to get you started with summer meals. So decide which program the SAU will operate, work with community partners to explore potential sites and or get commitment from returning sites, looking at how you will obtain the meals, complete hiring, training, and planning training dates, and then completing the application through My NHDOE. All right, here are the resources used in today's presentation. And here are the points of contact for questions related to these programs. You may be thinking of another summer nutrition program called Summer EBT. This USDA program is administered by the New Hampshire State Department of Health and Human Services. All right, so let's see here. We have a bit of time, so we can take the remainder